please come on stage, Vienna Pharaon.
The first time that you really haven't made fun of me in an introduction. Yeah, right? I feel good about this. This is great. So, 2 more speakers left. Feeling good? Energy? Yeah? I need energy in this room, so we're all gonna stand up. Oh, wait. Matt Corker's Shake It thing. I wanna know if anybody had the urge with the head thing to whip a nay-nay, because I totally wanted to. I don't know if that's a little bit weird, but I wonder if anybody else feels the same way. But now we are gonna stand up, because we need to fill this room with energy for the last 2 speakers. You guys are gonna give me your woos or your yeahs, whatever you've got. You can do a series of woos. You can do 3 in a row. I like 3, so you can do woo, 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 whatever you feel like. Or you can come up. You know what? I'm gonna go down there, and we can do a group hug, if you will. But on 3, we're gonna fill this room with energy, okay? 1, 2, 3. Woo! Come on, let's go. Right? I mean, nothing like starting off the day with a hug. All right, so like Mark said, I am, you guys, please sit. No, stand for the whole talk. Like Mark said, I am the sole therapist in the group. So I have to go out here and give a good name to therapists. We were getting a little rocked yesterday, right? And it is true what Amy said. We get paid to know the answer and not give it to you. Sorry about that. Show of hands, though. How many people in this room have ever given advice to a friend, a family member, a coworker, but have later not been able to take the same advice when they give it to you? Keep your hands up. I think everybody, keep them up. Now, raise your other hand if you've done it more than once. Right? Why is this? Why can we give and see the process and see what the answer is for other people and not take it for ourselves? Part of it. It seems so clear for them though, right? Of course, do this, do that, right? But when it comes to us, there's something that gets in the way. There's a constraint, right? We can't take the same advice that we give others and apply it to our lives. So we've been listening to incredible human beings talk about smashing our fears, changing narratives, leaning in, writing new narratives, right? Reaching, trying it, courage, all of that. But one thing that I want to add to that list is one word: permission. Today I'm going to talk about permission within the context of our role within our family systems. I'm a marriage and family therapist. This is what I do. Okay. But before I get there, one of the things that I've learned that in order to master something, you must always accept and choose to be a student forever. And part of that is listening. Part of that is listening to others. Part of that is listening to yourself. We have a really hard time doing that sometimes. What I'd like to ask you to do is I'd like you to close your eyes, and I'd like you to try to listen to yourselves right now. Try to push away any of the negative narratives that are going to try to block you, and I'd like you to sit with yourself. And I'd like you to sit and think, what is it that I don't like right now? What feels off for me? What doesn't fill me with joy? What in my life do I want to change? Listen to yourselves. Listen. You can open your eyes. In a minute, I'm going to ask you to find someone that you haven't met yet. I'd like you to share what you just listened to about yourselves with them. And part of what Kelsey had said earlier is that when we put it into the world, when we share it with somebody, right, it holds us to our accountability. The beautiful thing about this weekend is we have a room full of people who are going to help us stay accountable, right? That's what's so cool about this. That's what's so awesome about this summit, right? We have all of these humans in here who want to help rise you up, who want to help elevate you, who want to challenge you, who want to crush your narratives when you can't crush them yourselves, right? So you're going to find somebody, and if you feel like it, you're going to give them your phone number. This is actually just setting Jackson up to get Sorry, Jackson. But seriously, if you haven't spoken to him, go talk to him. Side note, somebody yesterday was like, sugar cubes, whatever they are, everybody should just be putting their phone numbers in there, right? Like, who said that? It was a smart idea. So I want you to find somebody. You're going to have 3 minutes. I want you to find somebody you haven't spoken to. Share with them what you just listened to. Give them your phone number. When you leave here, when we're out there mingling, you're going to collect more numbers. You're going to collect more context and use these people to lift you up, okay? So 3 minutes. Move. Find somebody new. Does anybody want to share and have more accountability buddies? You don't have to. I'm going to share a personal story with you all, but first I'm going to explain my family system a little bit. My story is going to start at age 5. So I'm an only child. My dad was 46 when he married my mom, who was 36. They had me at 48 and 38, a little bit older than most of the people my age. My dad is Lebanese. My mom is German, Swedish, and Italian. Yeah, right, a little bit of mutt. At that time, both of my grandfathers were deceased. Both of my grandmothers were living. My mom's sister was deceased, and my father's brother was still living, is still living now. So my story begins. At the age of 5, I heard the words, "If you leave, don't come back." These words were not directed at me, but that really didn't matter. A few minutes later, I was hand in hand with my mom, and we were leaving. We got in the car, and I was like, why are we leaving? Dad just said, if you leave, don't come back. She's like, don't worry, we're just going to go to the beach. So we drove to my grandmother's house, which was one town over. We picked up my grandmother, and we went to the beach. A little bit of a backstory. My parents were in couples therapy at the time, and one of the conflicts that was going on for them was that the two extended families were having conflict that the grandmothers weren't seeing me enough. That my mom's mom was seeing me more than my dad's mom was seeing me. Right? Part of that was because my mom's mom lived close by, my dad's mom lived further away in New York. Right? But part of what the couples counselor had suggested was that one weekend was going to be just the 3 of us, the core unit, that was it. The next weekend would be the 3 of us and my mom's side. And the third one would be the 3 of us on my dad's side. And we would rotate through that. This happened to be a weekend where it was supposed to just be the 3 of us. It's a beautiful day out, and my mom wanted to go to the beach, and my dad was watching the Yankees, and he didn't want to go. So she decided, well, we're going to go with my grandmother, and we're going to go to the beach and have a good time. And that did not fly. But we left. We went to the beach. Do not have a memory of the beach whatsoever, but where my memory starts back up is on the way home, except we didn't go home. We went to my grandmother's house. Again, just a town over. And we walked in, the phone was ringing, the answering machine red light was blinking, right? Push the button, Dad's on the other side, where are you? Where's Vienna? Continues, the phone's ringing, pick it up, can hear it too. A few minutes later, I'm hand in hand with my mom again, and we're running across the yard to the neighbor's house. We go inside, and I get ushered off into a room. And they say, just hide in this room, hide in the closet. What? I'm like, okay. So I hide in the closet, and every once in a while, I peek out. There's this small little window. And I remember looking out, and at one point, I saw my dad and my uncle, who had driven from New York. 2 Lebanese men together is stronger than one. And it's probably true. And I see them in my grandmother's driveway with a lot of police. And they start walking towards the neighbor's house. And I get back in, and I'm hiding. And I hear boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Vienna, are you in there? Frozen. Split. Yeah, Dad, I'm in here. Don't worry. Okay, Mom. I'll stay quiet. It's okay. That was the beginning of hell for a while. And it was a hard time. It was a long time. It was a hard time. Their divorce went on for 9 years. I don't think that's normal. I'm pretty sure. Usually people can close it up in a year or two. Theirs had to be 9. We go all out. At age 8, they had been going through the court system, and at age 8, I was asked to go into the judge's chambers. Okay. Uh-oh. Sorry, guys. Asked to go into the judge's chambers, and he sat me down. He tried to join with me. Doesn't work. And he said, Vienna, everything that we say in here today is going to be recorded. Okay. And a copy is going to be given to both of your parents. I don't know everything, but I know that that's not cool. So he asked me if I understood, which I did, and we started. And he started to ask me questions like, who do you like living with more? I really like living with both of my parents. My dad is great, and I love being at his home. He has a really nice house. And my mom, I love living with her too. She's great. And then, Vienna, who do you have more fun with? Both of my parents are really fun. My dad is really fun. We play sports in the backyard, and my mom is really fun too. We are creative together. He continued to ask me questions like this over and over and over again. But I was splitting, right? I had to be okay, right? Everything had to be fine to make sure that this system, this dysfunctional system that was crashing and burning, didn't crash and burn more. I was the screw. That's a screw, not a light bulb. I was the screw, right? I was the screw holding a family system in place, right? So that it wouldn't crash and burn further, right? That became my role. That became my role. In order for this system to function properly, right, I needed to always be okay. So I was. Everything I did in life, every relationship I entered into, everything was fine. I was good, all of it. Right? It was awesome dating me. It was awesome dating me, right? Yeah, no worries. I'm good, I'm fine, I'm cool. Oh, yeah, totally. Don't worry about it, right? Don't worry about it, I'm fine. I needed that in order to make sure that safety and security was there for me, right? Because these two people who were not safe and secure, who were not doing their parts on their own, were going to be worse if I wasn't screwed in, right? So I went through relationships, and I got to one point where I met this guy, and it was really great. It really was. It was really great. I thought he was a little more elevated than he turned out to be. But we met. He had taken a job in California before he and I had met, but he still had some time in New York. And so our relationship grew, and it transformed, and it was really beautiful in a lot of ways. And he moved to California, and the day after he moved, it's like they scripted these things. He calls me up, pick up the phone, excited to hear about his day, and his energy is on the floor. Like, what's the matter, babe? She sent me a picture of us. She was his ex, and she had gone into his iCloud, and she had found pictures of us and emails and all of this, and she took a screenshot, sent it to him, and told him that she wanted to be back with him, that all of the things that she was unwilling to do before, suddenly she was now willing to do. It's funny how pictures and emails do that to people. And so for many weeks, I held, right? I listened to him. I understood. I was compassionate and kind and caring, right? I held. I told him I was okay, right? I flew out there, and the next weekend she flew out there, right? And I processed, and I held That's what happens when you date a therapist, right? And I did that for a while. And we would talk on the phone, and I would listen and understand and all of that jazz. Then I'd get off the phone, and I'd call up my friends, I'd call up Mark, and I would cry. Because I wasn't okay, right? Wasn't okay. That wasn't okay. And I started to listen to myself. I finally started to listen to myself. And I thought, what is happening here? Like, what's the pattern? What am I doing? And I finally started to think about my role within my family system and how this role started to show up and was showing up in every area of my life, right? And I thought, okay, right. I'm not okay. Why am I doing this? And with the help of friends and people to process with, I found that answer. I realized what I was doing. I realized the role that I kept holding on to, right? The role that I thought I needed to hold on to so that that system wouldn't crash and burn. It did take I don't know if Matt's here, but it did just take a few moments of insane courage to realize that I no longer needed to be in that role. That it was okay for me to step outside of that role. That even if I unscrewed the screw and if the system did wind up shaking, that was okay because other people are responsible for their screws, not me. So I sat with my thoughts and I scripted things and I wrote and I finally called him and I said, old me, fear-based me, wants to hold for you. Wants to hold for you, understands what you're going through, which I did. Old me, fear-based me, will listen to you and tell you that I'm okay. But the truth is, I'm not okay. What you're doing is not okay. This is not okay. And I can't choose to be in this role anymore. So we spoke for a couple of hours, and then we hung up the phone. And he and I have never reached out to each other since. And I have to tell you, that was the most vulnerable and courageous moment of my life till this date. Because really all it takes is one time. I promise you this. It takes one time of doing it differently and realizing that you can do it differently. That you can step outside of your role. Once you accept and realize that it is okay to leave your role, that it is okay for your system to shake, I stepped into freedom. I really stepped into freedom, right? And I saw it everywhere. I think Mark was saying, like, when you buy the car and then you start to see it everywhere. That was me. So, there's the role again. That's it. I can do this differently. And I started to do it differently with everything. I started to speak my voice. I started to honor myself. I started to say when I wasn't okay. And it was beautiful. It was so powerful. It was such an important moment in my life because it has led me so far from there, right? Our roles within our family systems are so important to look at. Our roles within our family systems are so important to look at, whether it's a family system in which we grew up, whether it's a family system in which we've created now. Look at your role. What is it that you believe you need to be doing so that the chaos doesn't happen? Look at that role. What do you think you need to be doing so that your system isn't crashing and burning around you? Look at that role. Listen to yourselves. There are answers there. I promise you, there are answers when you look at your role and the narratives around that role. You have to give yourselves permission to leave that role. You have to give yourselves permission to leave that role. We can choose differently. We can change our narratives. we can crush fears, but if we don't give ourselves permission, we won't do it. People find their permission through different ways. You can find yours on your own way, but you have to dig in to permission to go there. You have to trust that if you shake your system, it will still be okay. You can shake your system, and there will be safety and security on the other side. See, we lie to ourselves. We say, oh, I need to be in this role in order to have safety and security. It's not true. We have to loosen that. We have to assume different roles in order to have safety and security. Shake the system. Shake the system. We are told not to shake the system. Shake the system. I invite you to look at your role. I invite you to go there. I know it can be hard sometimes. Some of this might be flooding and overwhelming for some of you. But when you're ready, I invite you to go there, because I promise you this, there are answers there. Give yourselves permission. Use your accountability people for permission. Ask them to remind you of permission, and see how that opens the gate to your freedom, your safety, your security, and your belonging. Thank you.